Are you tired of hearing about the same old tech giants as Apple, Amazon, and Google? Do you even know any other high-tech leaders other than them? Well, how about I tell you of a bank that has taken the Silicon Valley by storm and is rapidly expanding? Well, in this video today, we're going to talk about one of the most powerful and influential banks in the world, Silicon Valley Bank. But before we dive into how it started and where it's going, let me tell you a joke. Why did the bank robber go to Silicon Valley Bank? Because he heard that they have the best seed money. Okay, maybe that joke wasn't that funny. I should probably think these over in my head before saying them, but I promise you that the rest of this video will blow your mind. So let's get started. Did you know that Silicon Valley Bank wasn't always a bank? In fact, it started off as a small division of a bigger bank in the 1980s. But as the tech boom hit, the small division grew and evolved into one of the most influential banks in the world. Now you might be wondering, how did this happen? Well, let me tell you some mind-blowing facts about the rise of Silicon Valley Bank. Firstly, did you know that the bank's headquarters is located in Santa Clara, California, right in the heart of the Silicon Valley? I know that you're thinking that obviously it should be in Silicon Valley, it's literally the name, right? Well, that's not all. This strategic location allowed them to be in close proximity to some of the world's largest technology companies, giving them a unique perspective on the market that their counterpart lacks. Don't ask me who I mean when I say counterparts. Moving on. Secondly, the bank was one of the first to recognize the potential of tech startups. They saw that these companies needed a different kind of financial support than the traditional businesses, and they tailored their services to meet these needs. This approach allowed them to grow alongside the booming tech industry, and they quickly became the go-to bank for startups and investors alike. Lastly, the bank's success wasn't just due to luck. They made strategic investments in emerging technologies, and they had a deep understanding of the market. This allowed them to stay ahead of the curve and make smart decisions that propelled them to the top. It all started on March 13, 2023. That's the day the tech world stood still. People woke up to the news that Silicon Valley Bank had collapsed, and it sent shockwaves across the industry. I am sure that some of their bank users were already re-evaluating their life plans at the news of the crash. For those of you who don't know, Silicon Valley Bank was a key player in the tech industry, providing financial and other banking services to startups and established tech companies alike. It was a trusted name in the industry and had been around for some decades. Fast forward to today, and nearly half of the country's venture capital-backed technologies and life science companies rely on SVB. But let's be real, some of these clients are risky. These are companies that move quickly, and their money moves quickly too. When things go off the rails, they're quick to move their money out of the bank. After the banking crisis that triggered the Great Recession, President Barack Obama signed the Dodd-Frank Act, making banks like SVB face stricter regulations. But then during the Trump administration, some of these regulations on smaller banks were rolled back. But the question is, how did it get here? Well, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. The tech industry has been riding highs for years now, with companies like Apple, Amazon, and Google dominating the market. Silicon Valley Bank was flooded with cash as businesses deposited more during the pandemic. Deposits tripled in 2 years to $189 billion, making 2021 Silicon Valley Bank's most profitable year ever. SVB Financial took that cash and bought tens of billions of dollars of longer-term US treasuries and government-backed mortgage securities, products usually considered safe. People and companies just put money in their bank accounts, and banks said that we have to do something with this. We have to earn some income from it. So they bought bonds with it. SVB's security portfolio rose to about $100 billion in under a year. But then, interest rates rose. And what happens when interest rates rise? Bond prices fall. Banks, including SVB, that were holding on to a lot of bonds were sitting on a bunch of losses. And as we all know, every good thing must come to an end. Just as we must all wake up to reality and face the consequences of our actions, in their case, it was due to a series of mistakes made by the bank. For starters, they had invested heavily in risky ventures, startups that were untested and unproven. They had also been giving out loans without proper due diligence, which led to a higher number of defaults. In simpler terms, we could say that they put a lot of money into the wrong people and their investments, all without much thought. And to top it off, they had been engaging in unethical practices such as insider trading and market manipulation. It is a regrettable reality that the actions of a few individuals have cast a shadow on the reputation of this company, but it is now on them to work to fix the damage that has been done. All of these factors contributed to the downfall of the bank. When the market finally crashed, Silicon Valley Bank was unable to weather the storm. Their risky investments have failed, their loan defaults have skyrocketed, and their unethical practices have been exposed. It was a perfect storm of mistakes and market instability. Now the big question on everyone's mind is, can they recover? It's a tough road ahead for Silicon Valley Bank, but it's not impossible. They need to start by cleaning up their act and getting rid of the bad actors within their organization. They also need to reevaluate their investment strategy and start investing in more stable ventures. They did it once, so they can do it again. It may take some time, but it's definitely not an impossible reality. And most importantly, they need to regain the trust of their customers. It's not going to be easy, but with the right leadership and a commitment to change, Silicon Valley Bank can make a comeback. After all, the tech industry is constantly evolving, and there will always be a need for a trusted banking partner. Now you might be wondering, why should you care about Silicon Valley Bank and its recent troubles? Well, the answer is simple. Silicon Valley Bank's success had a ripple effect on the tech industry as a whole. The bank's financial services have helped countless startups grow and scale. It would surprise you how many companies and businesses you know that have gotten a helping hand from Silicon Valley Bank. Its presence have contributed to the growth of the tech industry as a whole. If Silicon Valley Bank is unable to recover from its recent troubles, it could have a negative impact on the tech industry, particularly for newly established companies to whom the bank's financial services are needed to help facilitate growth and expansion. Imagine if Larry Page and Sergey Brin never had the funds to start up Google as a company because the bank that would have invested in them had crashed and could never find a way to get back to their feet. Quick question though, do you know why the Silicon Valley banker broke up with his girlfriend? Because he wanted to see other apps. Okay, that was just another terrible joke in an attempt to redeem myself from the first. But you get the idea. We need to find ways to laugh even in the face of adversity, even though I don't think Team Mayopolis is laughing right now. So what can we learn from the Silicon Valley Bank crash? First, we need to remember that even the most successful companies can make mistakes. We also need to be mindful of the market instability and the risks associated with certain investments. And most importantly, we need to be able to laugh at ourselves and find humor in difficult situations. The Silicon Valley Bank crash was a wake-up call for the tech industry. It's a reminder that no one is invincible, and even the most successful companies can stumble. Who knows, this might have all been the universe using them to teach other companies what not to do when in their shoes. But all of this aside, let's learn not to succumb to failure, be able to learn from our mistakes, and you'll see, with a little humor, hard work and dedication, we can recover from even the worst disasters. So let's raise a glass to Silicon Valley Bank and hope that they can weather the storm, push themselves off the floor, dust their asses from the fall, and make a grand return in the industry. Let me know in the comments what do you think of all of this. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe for the future videos.